Well, that was something. Um, so I had something pretty interesting happen. You know, it's kind of funny. Sometimes I forget how Vegas really is. And then, you run into somebody, it's like the D's Nuts guy. You can find him on the strip all the time. But this, it's like when you run into it, it's like a little surreal. But anywho, I got 10 seconds. Yeah, I'm jaywalking to me. I was walking across this road, and I see the parking lot. And I walk up upon, and I'll get to the guy's name. I'll probably put it in the freaking title of the video. But I'm walking by, and I see this guy with a camera, and it looks like he's recording a cop who's writing a ticket for a vehicle. And I'm walking by, and I hear just kind of like, "You're lucky your name's Gonzalez because it'll be harder to find you because there's a lot of guys with that name," or something to that effect. I think I might have misquoted that, or something about your name's Gonzalez. There's a lot of people like that, and I'm like, especially being prior service, it's like, all right. First thought that comes through my head is, one, we got another asshole with a camera just being a dick to law enforcement because he has nothing better to do with his life. Initial thoughts. And part of me relates to that because it's like, I'm pretty sure a lot of, whether it be cops or any kind of law enforcement or military or whatnot, I mean, how many assholes have we ran into with their opinions of why we suck? I mean, I've never killed a person in my life, but I've been called, a pawn of the machine, baby killer, freaking brainwashed, a robot who can't think for long, all these fucking things about people who got no clue what they're talking about, right? So I see this happening real time, and I'm like, something in me gets a little angry, and I'm like, just another, so I walk up, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Why the fuck are you harassing this guy?" It's like, I can't remember exactly what it said. Something about, like, dude, go get a fucking life, or part of my language, but go get a life or something like that. Want to call him when acting like a fucking child, just out here harassing people for no good fucking, But I said my little two-piece, and the gentleman looks at me, and I'm pretty sure and this is a lot of it, I'm talking about what I know now in hindsight. The guy, Tom Zebra, I think, or something like that, he has his own channel. He's recording, he switches to me, and I'm like, all right, I can already see the YouTube videos now. We've seen a million of these videos. Tells me his channel. He tells me how to look it up, his name. And I'm just like, he says, "Have a good evening," and I'm just like, something like, "Yeah, you too," or something like, I don't really mean it. Right. So I'm walking away, and I'm like, well, the guy gave me his name. He has a camera, and it wasn't a cheap looking one either. Had a fancy mic and all that fun stuff. So I was like, all right, the guy is probably, he has enough time and money to be able to do this. So let's see what he's got. So I found him, found the channel, and I read it, and it's like, all right, Tom Zebra or something, holding police accountable for 20 years. And I'm rolling my eyes. Like, oh, here we go. Another, sovereign citizen, people who, like, will go break the law or do some bullshit, and then they'll sit there and play the victim. So I read his little thing. I watch about 3 of his videos, and I was like, huh. Now, this guy isn't what I had perceived him to be. Do I agree with his methodology at this time? No, I think he's, at this point in time, I think he's an antagonistical asshole. But there's nothing illegal about that. You can be a toxic human being, or at least have a toxic attitude. Can't do no, it's not illegal. So, but from the videos I have seen, I haven't seen all of them, he's actually like, I mean, such a fine line, because I like holding police accountable. Oh, well, it's not that I like it, I believe it should happen. Just like, I'm probably going to share some stories about some, not name dropping this time, but there's some crap that goes down in the military. I think politicians, people in positions of power, definitely should be held accountable. Now, I guess my methodology of how I would go around it would be different. But then again, who am I judging? So, I did change my opinion about this guy. Not completely, I know it might blow some people's minds, but I'm not 100% for him. I'm not 100% against him, what he's doing. It's just like, who am I to say what the perfect way to do something is? He's out there doing it, so kudos on him. And you know what? If he's actually maybe done, like, changed something or actually helped somebody out, good on him. Who am I to be the asshole? But anywho, so I watched this, and I kind of reconsider. I'm on the phone, I need to freaking get into my gate. So I kind of reconsider my opinion about him, because, well, it's like, I might be wrong about the guy. I mean, I've probably been more wrong about things in my life than I've been right about things. And myself and homie Matt, we've had a lot of talks about, to be able to be right, you have to consider that you could possibly be wrong. Watch a lot of Jordan Peterson videos about that kind of method or ideology, or who knows. So there's probably one thing I consider myself to be 100% right in, but outside of that one thing, which is just my personal faith in Jesus, outside of that, where in my opinion Jesus is the way, truth, and the life, outside of that, I don't think I can say I shouldn't be 100% right about anything. Get to the bottom of the story. I'm watching this guy's video, and you know what? I'm like, I was wrong. He wasn't what I had generally thought him out to be, was just some guy out there trying to cause problems. So, it's like, you're wrong, and I'm like, well, that's kind of embarrassing, but who cares if you're embarrassed about being wrong? When is anyone always right? So, I was actually at McDonald's at the time. I'd finished, and I was watching his videos while I was eating. And in my head, I was like, you know what? I'm walking home the same way. And I had to kind of be like, hey, Anthony, you got to humble yourself a little bit. If you see him, it's like, I'm not going to 100% flip and just, admit that you were wrong. Be honest with what you thought about him in the beginning, if you do get to see him. And then be honest with what you think about him now. And I told him that, I came back, the guy was done, the cop was gone, he's sitting at the bus stop. And I think that's because I was pushing from behind, I see a little bit of beard out the hoodie of his jacket. I'm like, is this that one guy? So, I want to talk to the guy. So I kind of walked up, I'm like, hey, you, Tom, or I don't think I called him by his name, I don't remember. But, now I basically just kind of let him know, like, hey, here's what I thought about you initially. In hindsight, and also I let him know that I appreciated him, because he could have been toxic, right back to me. That's coming off as like a dick. I'm not going to apologize for that. But, he could have told me to go F myself and yada, yada, yada. And I really would have wrote him off, But no, he handled it cool, and he allowed me gracefully to be able to, he left the door open, essentially. So I was able to meet this guy. Kind of was just like, hey, I checked out some of your videos. I told him I agree with the idea of police accountability. I shared like one or two quick stories. And then it's like, I even told him, it's like, I don't agree with your methodology 100%. But I will concede to the fact that That's an opinion. I'm not telling you that your way is the right or wrong way to do it. Just want to be my style. Guy was very cool about the whole thing. Was appreciative that I had taken the time to, I think he said the word reconsider. And it's just, like I said before, it's just, and it's hard, especially nowadays. And I fall victim to it all the time, especially if you were to get into talks where it's a little bit more emotionally laced. The tendency is for people to dig in, never admit they were wrong about anything, shape, or the other. So, I try. Now, I would say, I would like to say I am the example of a guy who does that sometimes, but then sometimes I do strike it right, and I'm able to be like, hey, I was wrong, I don't know, I'll let other people be the judge of that. Dr. Pepper, give me free cherry. Anywho, I'm going to be watching this guy's channel because I kind of want to see. He even said that he has a reason why he's a dick and he's an asshole. Because in my head, I'd be a little bit more professional about it. In my head. Just like there's a million different YouTube channels. Everyone runs it a million different ways. He's not right. I'm not right. I just have my way of what I would do it if I was doing that, but I'm not. He's the one. And he has his way of doing it. And I told him that. I was like, bro, I think this is how you're doing it, yada, yada, yada. And he actually was just like, kind of left the door open again. It was just like, hey, I'm going to be posting more videos. Keep watching him. And he's given me the opportunity to reevaluate my opinion on the way he handles it. So I was like, okay. So I'm going to keep watching this guy. Overall, if I had to give a percentage with how for I am and against his videos, I'd probably say I'm like at 85-15, 90-10, because I agree with the idea and the premises of accountability. I think it's just the way he went about it is not my way of doing it. So I'm mostly for his crap. So, yeah, and I guess I'll have more things to binge watch. But, yeah, man, freaking Tom Zebra. Chances you run into people like that. You know what I'm saying? That's it.